Hey class, welcome to Module 1B, Digital Ecosystems and Customer Personas. I hope you remember, but in the previous class we talked about how to calculate the different layers of the opportunity, the total available market, the TAM, serviceable available market, SAM, and serviceable obtainable market, SOM. And we established how difficult or expensive it can be to capitalize on that opportunity, no matter how big it may seem. Now we're going to learn how to improve that picture, how to accelerate growth and profit. But first, let's go over some basic definitions. Okay, what is a digital ecosystem? A digital ecosystem is a set of digital channels and touchpoints connected to each other by design to match a company's marketing funnel. Don't you guys worry, you will see one later today. You will even learn how to build and how to design one. What is a marketing funnel? You've seen this concept probably 1,000 times so far in the program, but you will see how critical it is to plan effective digital marketing strategies. So a funnel is the set of steps an in-market shopper needs to go through before they can reach the conversion. What is an in-market shopper? A person who has met a level of purchase intent based on a predefined criteria that suggests that they will transact within a finite period of time. I will mention this concept several times during the course, so please keep it in mind. Okay, there are many ways to represent the marketing funnel, but for me, the one that has been the most practical for articulating digital strategies and digital ecosystem has been this one, which has three phases. At the top of the funnel is the awareness stage, where the consumer is still trying to understand their own need or to diagnose a problem. Here, the consumer forms a criteria to select and filter options, according, of course, to what brands were present to educate and to inspire them. 75% of the traffic in the internet is at this stage. In the middle part of the funnel, the consumer has already defined his problem well and has formed a set of brands from which he would buy that solution. Now he's just defining who is he going to give the business to. 22% of the traffic on the internet is from people actively researching about specific companies, brands, products, and services, trying to validate reputation, credibility, etc. At the bottom of the funnel, the consumer has already decided which product to buy. Now they are probably just waiting for the best time to make the transaction. The strategic priority at this point is to provide sufficient incentive for the consumer to act immediately and to close the purchase. On average, 3% of the internet traffic is at this stage of being ready to buy. But believe it or not, the most common funnel, the one that guides the way many businesses design and implement their strategy, is the no funnel funnel. That is that all campaigns and communications, regardless of the channel, have a promotional tone, sales tone. They treat all consumers as if they were at the same level, at the bottom of the funnel, ready to buy their products. The problem with this strategy, if we can call it like that, is that we know that the purchase intention is built at the previous stage of the funnel. And at this point, at the bottom of the funnel, in order for a business to intercept the purchase intention for another brand, they have to do such a great promotional effort, usually in the form of discounts, that it causes their margins to erode and to the point of eventually putting them out of business. That's why brands need to start playing early in the journey. Okay, let's get back to our framework, funnel framework, that one that has 3 stages. And let's resume our extreme home workout program, the XWP case. And let's map out an ecosystem to accelerate growth and to build a profitable business. Remember our target audience, millennials and centennials who exercise at home, who have paid for digital content in the last month, and who live in the United States. Now we're going to see which are the relevant channels in each stage of the funnel. Let's recap. Brand awareness is the extent to which a brand is recognized by potential customers and correctly associated with a particular product or services. But what are the channels through which our consumers discover new brands, products, and services? Here, black bars are digital channels and gray bar are offline channels or offline touchpoints. As you can see, not all channels in the discovery or awareness stage are digital, but through the right combination, we can reach a large percentage. In fact, half of the most relevant channels for awareness are digital. Of the group of digital channels, search engines and social networks are the ones that provide the greatest reach with 33% and 23% respectively as the main points of contact to generate brand awareness. Okay, moving on to the second stage, brand consideration. It is the consumer's likelihood of purchasing a brand which is generated from their predisposition toward that brand. After consumers finish diagnosing their need and evaluating possible solutions in the previous stage, the consumer now reduces the list of businesses from which he would buy from. At this stage of product research and validation, the weights of channels changes and all relevant channels are now digital. Now we know that while search is at the top, we can see how consumers' review moves up to the second place, even above social media. Don't worry, I will revisit this chart when we are going to map the customer journey. Remember that these preferences apply to the audience that we define. If we change some variables, the channel order and their role would also change. And lastly, the purchase stage. This is the moment when the consumer only needs one last impulse to complete the purchase. The priority is to establish a reason to buy now. Now that we know which channel to activate at each stage of the journey, we make sure to map their interdependencies in order to maximize the number of clients we can effectively move from the awareness stage to the purchase stage. In this example, at the upper portion of the funnel, the role of all channels is to attract prospects to the educational or inspirational content on the blog and convert those visitors into subscribers to the newsletter or into social media followers. In the consideration stage, we seek to attract consumers who are already in market to establish comparative advantages of our business and position it as the best option. The objective here is to identify the most relevant message for each potential client to maximize the relevance of the follow-up. Notice how we have included a chat functionality because we learned that it was mentioned among the most important purchase drivers. At the purchase stage, we leverage everything we learned that can trigger a purchase. The objective for this portion of the strategy is to make the consumer feel that this opportunity cannot be missed to prevent further investigation and comparison with another alternatives. We connect the three stages through email marketing and remarketing. Later in the course, we will establish performance benchmarks for each component of the ecosystem. As you can see, an ecosystem does not define an entry point or a sequence of contact points. It is rather a lineup of channels. Depending on the type of consumer, the touch points are leveraged in different order and with different messaging. This is why we need to create customer personas to anticipate possible entry points and touch point sequences. In other words, to understand possible customer journeys. Again, these different possible routes and the way to maximize relevance is by developing customer personas. Although your product could solve common needs across different segments, you cannot expect the same strategy to be equally effective for all. Because although your target is sufficiently defined, it still lacks texture. We know that there are sub-segments with, although they have similar needs, they discover, validate, and buy differently. Remember that the greater the relevance, the better the performance. Here's a simple definition of what a customer persona is. A customer persona is a fictitious model of an ideal customer. It generally includes demographics like age, gender, location, and occupation, as well as psychographic like motivation, likes, dislikes, and pain points. Remember that the purpose of this exercise is to maximize relevance because relevance drives performance. And the good news is that relevance can be objectively measured and dynamically optimized. For example, this is the Google Quality Score that evaluates from 1 to 10 the relevance between the keyword, the ad, and the landing page. And that score defines your cost per click and the position of your ad. The higher that score, the lower your CPC will be, and your ad will appear in better positions. In the table on the right, you can see, for example, that while a quality score of 10 has a discount on the PPC of up to 50%, a bad quality score can have a surcharge of up to 400%. This is the evidence of the direct impact of the relevance over the performance. Facebook also has a similar metric with the same impact. Having access to that piece of information allows you to experiment and to improve it. I assure that you will never obtain a quality score or a relevance score of 10 without having gone through an organized testing process. We will cover later in the course how to conduct effective testing to optimize relevance and hence, of course, performance. Just to keep pounding on the idea of relevance and the use of customer personas, using an example from the travel industry, which of these two levels of details seems to enable better performance? From the left with basically demographic information, or the one on the right with sheds light on the different user profiles within that same demographic. If you research the internet, you will find thousands of templates and formats. I have had the opportunity to deal with many of them, and in my opinion, most of them are full of BS, full of speculation, and literally ornaments that what they do is to increase the risk of deviating from the strategy. So if I had to choose between the example on the left and the one on the right, I would stick to the one on the right because it's less strategically risky. To make your life a little easier, here I'm sharing a format that has been super practical, not only for me, but for the creative and the media team as well. The fields are a name to simplify the way the whole team refers and remembers each profile, a photo to put in everybody's head a common image of the character, a quote that reflects their main pain point or their attitude towards our category, their goal, their motivations, frustrations, demographic info, behavioral details, and how would they search on Google for a product or what type of content would tackle their needs. Now I'm going to show you this template filled with an example from our case. Okay, here we go. Persona name. I named her Jane the Nomad. Personal quote. I quickly get bored with training plans. I'm always testing and buying new programs that are coming out. The goal is staying in shape but training from home whenever I can, but without getting too monotonous. Motivations. This program looks entertaining and effective. It is not expensive and I can also cancel it whenever I get bored. Demographic, age 30, gender male or female, income 70K, location urban, level of education college graduate, family size married, no kids. Behavioral, she's an online shopping expert, prefers videos, follows tons of fitness influencers, researches well before buying this type of products. She considers herself a connoisseur when it comes to fitness. Frustrations. I hate BS. When these programs exaggerate the benefits and treat me like I don't understand the subject. Top keywords. New online training programs. Top rated workouts. Content ideas. endorsement from experts, and versus and side-by-side program comparisons. Remember that this is only one of several personas we should create to make sure that we are not excluding any potentially valuable profile. Alright, today we covered three main ideas. How using the marketing funnel as a framework makes mapping the ecosystem of our digital strategy easier. Second, the direct impact of relevance in the performance of our marketing. And third, how to develop useful and practical customer personas. Please remember that I am available for consultations via Canvas and that we will also have live Q&A sessions as you guys deem necessary. Thank you so much and see you next class.